my screen visible? Okay, let's continue. So till yesterday we covered syntax for printing something in the JavaScript. Okay, that was console.log. Okay, next we studied about variable declaration types. Okay, what were these? These were directly using the variable name and then assigning data. Another was using var, another was let, and last was const. We studied that const values, once we assign them, they never change until and unless we use an object. In the case of object, we can update the values in the object. Next what we learned that var is globally accessible. Let and consts are accessible in a scope, within a scope. Okay, next we studied that var, since it's globally accessible, it works by hoisting. What was hoisting? We studied that hoisting means var first breaks into two parts. First it takes its data type is undefined, then it assigns itself a value which we passed actually. Okay, so hoisting is this breaking into two parts. First getting stored as undefined and then reassigning the value to it. So this was hoisting. Next we studied about data types. There are two types of data in JavaScript, that is primitive data type and another one is non-primitive data type. In primitive data type, what we studied that it contains string, number, boolean, null and undefined. String are nothing but characters that are enclosed in single quote, double quote or backticks. We studied about this, what are single quotes, double quotes and backticks. Okay, next what we studied that numbers can contain, in JavaScript numbers can contain anything, any type of number, that is normal number, that is positive integer, negative integer, float. Okay, any type of number. Next we studied about boolean simply contains true or false. Okay, true or false values, that if age is greater than 18, then the person is eligible to vote, that is true. And if age is not less than if age is less than 18, then the person is not eligible to vote, that means false. Okay, undefined, what we studied that undefined simply means we simply declare a variable, okay, but don't assign data to it. Okay, so in that case the variable data type is undefined. Okay, means we haven't defined the data. Next we studied about null. What is null? Null means we are proactively or willingly trying to set the value of the data type or the variable to null. Okay, means we are knowingly we are setting the data type to null. Okay, means 0. Null means 0. Okay, next we covered about non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types consist of objects. First of all, what are objects? We discussed that objects are collections of, can anyone tell me what are objects? Objects are collection of entities. Can you explain more what exactly? That is okay, but what exactly that does it contain? It contains objects, basically are collections of properties and methods. Okay, whoever told entities, that is also okay, that is combination of properties and methods. Okay, so simply properties and methods are contained inside objects. Okay, and to be more precise or concise, what are properties and methods? Properties are simply, for example, we took the example of car, brand, model, year, engine and car type are properties of a car. Okay, and methods were some functions like start engine, stop engine, accelerate, decelerate. Okay, so these were some example of objects. Okay, next we saw that we can update the objects, okay, and since we can update the objects, this means later in future the objects may have modified data, okay. So in order to lock that, what we did is we use this object dot freeze method, okay, and we lock the object, okay, so that no more further modification happens in the object, okay. So next we saw the exact example that if we actually lock the object or freeze the object, if we try to change the brand here, it won't change, okay, it would remain the same as it was before freezing it, okay. But the thing is that if we try to change the or update the values before freezing, it will happen definitely, okay. So next today we are going to cover about arrays, and before arrays JavaScript has a method through which we can declare objects in another way. See, this was the method through which we can declare objects, okay, simply writing a variable name, okay, and is equal to, and then this was the object, okay. Another method of JavaScript to declare object is by doing this. Let's say const bikes is equal to new object, inside it we can pass our object, okay. So this is the JavaScript method, another method basically, okay, to declare an object. Inside this we can declare all these things, okay, like the properties and methods. Next we will cover arrays. Allow me a moment. So arrays are kind of similar to this what we call objects, okay, and as I showed you the JavaScript method of declaring object, in the same way we can declare array also, okay. This is the first method, that is the simple method. If we want that we should declare the the array through JavaScript method, we can do this using let vegetables equals to new array, okay. Inside that simply the objects, okay. Let's first see what exactly is array, the definition of array. Allow me a moment, let me open my notes. Okay, so according to the MDN documentation, what is array? Okay, so an array can hold an array is an object type designed for storing data collections, okay. Means it can it can store different types of data, okay. If we pass here string, if we pass here number 23, if we pass here true boolean value, null, undefined, object, and in fact an array also inside an array, it will take all of that, okay. See, currently these all are, let me change the variable name so it's more understandable. So first three are string type, okay, string data type. Another one is, fourth one is number, okay. Fifth one is a boolean, sixth is null, seventh is undefined, and seventh is eighth is, may I know what type of data is this? Object. And after that, at the last position we have an array. So this means let's discuss the array in simple method for keeping it simple for now. Raw materials equal, an array must be declared inside a square bracket if we are using the normal method to declare an array, okay. So it contains square brackets, okay. And yesterday we covered I don't think so we covered this. See, primitive data types and non-primitive data types have this difference, that non-primitive data types are contained inside the bracket, okay, and in primitive data types we don't see a bracket. Do we see a bracket in this caret? No brackets are there. Let me make it clear here. We discussed about string. See, whenever we declared a string, we don't need any bracket, right? Same goes for number, boolean, okay. Yeah, what we call this? Yeah, this is the boolean only. Undefined, okay. Null, okay. All these data types, the primitive data types, don't require a bracket, okay. But in non-primitive data types, we require a bracket, okay. Like in object cases, we need a curly bracket. In array we need a square bracket, okay, and later on we will discuss function that will also require a bracket, okay. So this is the major difference between primitive data types and non-primitive data types, okay. So now let's come back to array. So here we see that an array is a special type of object that can hold multiple data types, not values, data types we can say, is a special type of object that is used to store different types of data, okay. Now the thing is, the major difference between object and array is the array doesn't need a key, okay. Here we can't find a key, okay, because array runs on indexes, okay. What is index? See, if we want to count the items, okay, how many items are there inside this? If we see here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 items are there. So according to normal mathematics, what will happen? The counting will start from 1, okay. But in array what happens? There is an indexing, means the counting starts from 0, okay. So if I ask someone that what is the value, what is the position of this tomato, it will be in the second position, okay, because in array indexing starts from 0, okay. Am I clear with indexing, or shall I re-explain something? Okay, so this was array. Now let's discuss the key characteristics or features of array. Key characteristics of array. First of all, elements. An array is a list of values which are known as elements, okay. What are elements here? Let me show you. So in this array we see carrot is an element, potato is an element, tomato is an element, 23, true, null, undefined. This whole object is an element. This array, in fact the whole array inside array is an element, okay. Combined, known as elements, okay. So an individual data inside the array is called an element, okay. So what is this? List of values, okay. So this is a value, this is a value, this is a value. So each individual data is a value here, which is known as element, okay. Next characteristics is ordering basically, okay. So array elements are ordered based on their index, okay. Array elements are ordered based on their index. the same thing which I told you now, that if we start counting from normal on the basis of normal mathematics, counting starts from 1, but in the case of arrays the counting starts from 0. Okay, so the position of each element is defined according to their index. Okay, the carrot is an index 0, potato is an index 1, tomato is an index 2. Okay, next the same feature which we discussed, that is 0 indexed. Okay, the first element is at index 0, the second at index 1, and so on. So this is the same thing which I just taught you now. Okay, that counting starts from 0. Okay, so as counting starts from 0, the first element will be in 0th position, 0 index, second element will be in first index. Okay, and so on. Sorry, index 2 I have written here, index 1. Next we have dynamic size. Now what is dynamic size? Dynamic size basically means array can grow or shrink in size as needed. Okay, means if you see here what things are here, in the first place is carrot, potato, tomato, 23, true, null, undefined, name John, and another array. Okay, what if you want to add some more data type inside it? Okay, like I want to add another string inside it, like onion. Not by declaring here, by manually writing here, I don't want that. Okay, but we have some array methods through which we can inject the data. Okay, so this means that array can be changed dynamically. Okay, its size can be changed dynamically. You can understand it in a way that if assume that your storage size is let's say 1 GB. Okay, and what if you want to expand it? You can expand it. Okay, the array storage size is, let's say, 1 GB. Okay, manually I declared 1 GB of data inside this array. Okay, so later on what I can do is I can reduce the size or basically add more data and increase the size of the array. Okay, so this is dynamic size. Arrays can grow or shrink in size as needed. Next part is homogeneous. What is homogeneous? Sorry, it's not homogeneous, it's heterogeneous actually. What is heterogeneous? We have studied in science what is heterogeneous. Heterogeneous basically means mixture of objects. Okay, so this is not true. Arrays can store different types of data including numbers, strings, objects, and even other arrays. Okay, so what we saw here, heterogeneous data basically means different mixtures of data types. Okay, mixtures of different data types, string, number, boolean, null, undefined, object, array, and again string. Okay, so what does this mean? We have a mixture of data type here. Okay, so this is array. These are the characteristics of array. Okay, so why use arrays? Assume why use arrays, and actually let's mark it as day 2 of JS. Why do we need to use array? Assume that I have to generate a report of all the car companies. Okay, so as we can see that we have a lot of car companies. Okay, hundreds and thousands of car companies. Okay, so one approach is to directly say car 1 equals to Volvo. Okay, not like this, not like this. Car 1 equals Volvo. Okay, car 2 Toyota, car 3 Honda. So this is a very worst way of declaring data. Okay, like manually we are declaring all the data types. For that we need a if we want to declare hundreds of car companies, we need hundreds of variables. Okay, so that will be a lot of mess. So instead what we can do is we can declare one variable, let car let cars equals to, then inside an array we can declare all the car companies. Okay, like this. So this is a better approach. Okay, and yeah, definitely if we see that inside our terminal we will get all the data. Okay, we'll get all our data. So here we get an array. Okay, what is inside array? We have Toyota, Honda, BMW, Mercedes, Audi. Okay, and see the indexing here. It starts from 0. Okay, so this is array. Okay, and this is the solution where we can use array. Okay, so I taught you about creating an array. Creating an array is simple. Okay, we simply need to declare a variable name using let, const, whatever you like. Okay, and next what we can do is we put a square bracket, and inside that simply we declare our data. Okay, whatever data we want to declare. Okay, and yeah, as I told you in starting, another way of declaring the array is using JavaScript method. Okay, or JavaScript keyword basically. This is the JavaScript keyword. Const cars equals new array. Inside this we don't need a square bracket. Okay, directly can pass on the data. Okay, but let's stick with the first method only to declare array for now. Okay, now how do we access a specific element in array? Okay, how do we access it? So for accessing a specific element in array, one second. So for accessing a specific element in array, what we do, accessing array elements. So this is the way. Okay, now if we access it like this, what we'll get Toyota. Okay, see, we get here Toyota in line number 182. Okay, and let's say if I want to access the last element in the array, we will see its position, that is 0 1 2 3 4. It's in the 4th position, so we'll simply write here 4. Okay, so we'll get the Audi. Okay, next, how to change the particular element in an array. Let's say I want to remove Honda. Okay, want to remove Honda, and instead of that what I want is let's say Ford. Okay, not don't want to remove the 0th index, I want to remove the first index, so simply I will declare here Ford. Okay, and after that if I try to access the array, what I will get is Ford. Okay, see, here I get the Ford. Okay, so this is how I can change an array's element. Okay, now next we will see how to convert an array to a string. Okay, what are strings? Can anyone tell me what are strings? Anyone? Okay, so strings are these. Okay, in fact if we remove this bracket, this will become all string. Okay, So how do we convert an array to a string? Basically what we want is to remove the brackets and change it to a normal string. Okay, so for doing that, first let's give the heading converting an array to a string. Okay, what if we want that the car should not be an array, but rather it should be a string? So we have a .toString method in array. Okay, so what will this do? It will simply see here, it will simply convert the array to a string. Okay, as simple as that. So arrays, basically arrays are objects only. Okay, arrays are a special type of object. Okay, and JavaScript basically describe it as arrays. Okay, means it's a term, defined term, predefined term in this language. Okay, so JavaScript terms it as arrays. Okay, and see, another difference between arrays and object is that, see, arrays can be accessed using numbers. Okay, see, like we had an object here, about cars. Okay, car. So if we try to access something of that from that object, we use the dot property. Okay, like first we will declare the or write the object's name. Okay, we will write the object's name. So in our case the object was car. Okay, I'm talking about this object. The object was car. Okay, or let's have the simple example. Let's say I want to access person. This is also an object. Okay, so here in our case the object's name is person. Okay, so let's try to access the person's name. Okay, so we will simply put a dot. Okay, and we will get all the properties here. See what properties we have: age, is student or not, and name. Okay, so we'll simply access it and we'll get the John Doe's name. Okay, person's dot name is John Doe. Okay, but in case of array, accessing object properties. Okay, now accessing arrays are different. Okay, assume we have this array. Okay, cars. Now if I want to access the property of this array, we simply pass a number. Okay, basically what number? The index. Okay, whatever index we want, we need that index here, and before that we need the array's name. So what is our array's name? Cars. And after that, since it's an array, we will put this square bracket, and inside this we'll pass the index whichever we want to access. Okay, let's say I want to access the BMW, so we'll pass index 2. Okay, so this is the major difference. Okay, we access the arrays using numbers. Okay, but in case of objects we directly access the object using key. Okay, so as we saw here, inside array we can declare objects also. Okay, inside the array. Okay, and inside the array we can declare array also. Okay, now we will discuss some properties and methods of arrays. Okay, everything clear before properties and methods of arrays? Okay, So first property is length. Okay, assume I want the length of my array. What is the length of the data, okay, which I am going to store, or which I am storing and storing. I need to keep track of that length. Okay, so accessing length is simple. We'll simply pass the array's name and we will access it using dot length. Okay, see, we don't have this defined. This length isn't defined inside the array anywhere. Okay, it's a JavaScript method of arrays. Okay, if we see here, we get 5. Okay, because inside cars we have 5 elements. Okay, it's basically returning the number of elements in array. Okay, now indexing only starts from 0. Okay, but the normal length, if we see the length, okay, length is 5 only, means the number of objects are 5 only. Okay, if that also starts from 0, there will be a big mess, because we will assume this as 4 only. Okay, so length isn't 4 here. Okay, so only indexing means positioning only starts from 0. Rest everything is calculated as per normal mathematics. Okay, so let's see assume I want to add one more element inside the array, so we use the push method. Okay, cars.push Nissan. Okay, now if we log the cars, means print the cars, see, I'll get one more element inside it, that is Nissan. Okay, now assume if I want to remove the last element of an array, which in our case, may I know the last element of the array? What is the last element of the array now? Nissan. Okay, so if I want to, yeah, correct. So if I want to remove that, okay, remove the last element of the array, I will use the dot pop method. Okay, simply I will not like this. As we use the dot push method, simply we will use the dot pop method. Okay, and we don't need to pass any elements inside it. Okay, the array will automatically understand that yes, I need to pop out the last element. Okay, now if we log the cars, it's gone. Okay, there are only 5 elements left. Okay, assume if we want to access the last element of the array using length. Okay, using length, focus here, it's very important for future purpose. Accessing the last element using length, length. Okay, here what we'll do, what is our current length? Let's first log that. In this part till here, in this line, what is the current length of the cars array? length. Okay, it's 5 here. Okay, so now as I told you all that only indexing starts from 0. Okay, not the length. Okay, length starts from 1. Okay, so how can I access that last element? By doing this. Okay, understand this statement. What is happening here, that I told you that if I want to access any particular element inside the array, what we do is simply pass the array's name, and since it's an array, we will use a square bracket. Inside that we will pass the index. Okay, that means the position of the element that starts from 0. Okay, so the particular element which we want to access, we will pass the index of that element here inside the square bracket. Okay, so what we are currently passing here, length minus 1. Okay, 5 minus 1, 4, which means that if you see here, what is the last element's index? It is 4. Okay, so using the length, we can simply access our last element of the array. Okay, everyone understood? Shall I re-explain? Okay, very good. Now looping through an array element, okay, means we haven't studied about loops, right? Okay, we'll do this in later part. Okay, so when to use arrays and when to use objects? Okay, this would be a question. So you should use objects when you want the element names to be string, okay, means text. Okay, what are element names? Means basically if you want very descriptive data, okay, like if we see here inside the object, this is very descriptive data, okay, means the element name is very descriptive and it is in string, then we can use objects. Okay, otherwise if we have a lot of data which we don't want to uh, segregate, okay, then we can use arrays. Okay, if the element name is to be a number. Okay, now what is element name? Simply if we try to access something like in the string, where is the string, where is the string, where is the see here, if we try to access John Doe, how do we access it? Using its variable name, definitely. Okay, and we can do this if we see in numbers also. If we try to access the value of pi, we simply call the pi variable. Okay, we'll get the pi's value. Okay, in the case of objects also this is only happening. If we want this particular property, that is the brand, we'll call the brand key. Okay, this which is acting like a variable name. Okay, but in case of array, what is happening? What is the variable name here? It is numeric. Okay, means if I want to access this caret, what is the variable name? It's basically in numbers, that is index 0. Okay, so if I pass the index 0, I will get this particular caret. Okay, so basically if we want that the elements names should be in strings, then we can use objects, definitely. But if we want that element name should be number, okay, then we can use arrays. Okay, now there is a JavaScript function for identifying what is exactly the data type of an element. Okay, so how can we actually identify a data type? Okay, if we don't know, if we are wanting to access the type of data. Okay, so if we see here, if we try to print the type of if we want to print the type of the scar strings, let's see what happens. Type of, inside a bracket we will pass the elements variable name, car string. See this, this is a string type. Okay, this car string contains string type values. Okay, but if we try to access the cars, it will give us an object. Okay, wait a second. Okay, and if we try to access the car, we also get an object. Okay, so basically what happens is, one second, I wrote about it. Okay, so see what happens. As I told you, arrays are simply special type of objects only. So in JavaScript, what happens, JavaScript defines it as object only, okay, but it's an array. So it's kind of confusing in JavaScript, so I don't know why they did it like this, but an array is also considered as object here. Okay, means if you try to access what type of data is it using type of function of the JavaScript, it will return object here. As we can see these cars are arrays. Okay, in other language, in any other language, if we try to access the type of this array, it will give us simply array, but in case of JavaScript it gives us object only. Okay, next if we try to access the type of this car, we will definitely get object. Okay, and after that if we try to access this type of message, we'll get string definitely. Okay, string. Okay, try to access the age, will get us number. Okay, and undefined, when do we get an undefined? As I told you, we declare only the variable name, but we you know don't pass the data inside it, then we'll get undefined. Okay, last element. So we'll get it as undefined. Okay, but if we knowingly, if we willingly want that data type should be null, we'll pass here null, and we will see that we'll get it as object. Strange, right? So this is JavaScript, we can get a lot of strange things here. Okay, but this is considered as null. Okay, currently its value is null. Okay, next we have comments. Okay, assume that see whatever lines are blurred here or are in gray, those are comments. Okay, so using double slash we can write comments and JavaScript won't execute that line. Okay, so this is comments. Next we have operators. Okay, so what are operators? Operators are nothing but whatever is studied in mathematics for doing operations, plus, minus and stuffs. So here also the operators are same. Okay, so we have a plus operator. Okay, minus operator. Allow me a moment. Getting a call. Okay, so talking about operators, we have operators. Operators, we simply have plus function, minus function, star for multiplication. Okay, this for division, and this for modulus. Okay, and we have some more operators. Okay, these are arithmetic operators basically, used to perform mathematics operations on numbers. Okay, So first one is plus, okay, as we all know definitely. Next we have minus, then multiply, okay. Minus means the subtract, multiply, divide, and modulus means the remainder. Okay, whenever we divide something, we definitely get a remainder somewhere. Okay, if we divide a odd number, okay, we will definitely get a remainder. So if we want to get a remainder, we will use the modulus. Okay, let me show you in the terminal. Definitely we need to comment this out. JavaScript won't understand all this directly. So see, whenever we try to multiply 34 with 2, we won't get a remainder. Okay, and we are currently doing division. Okay, so we will get the quotient. Okay, so quotient is 17, but means the answer is 17. But whenever we use the modulus operator, we will get the remainder as 0. Okay, currently we are getting the remainder. Okay, and after that, if we divide, let's say, odd number with an even number, we'll get a remainder as 1. Okay, so this is arithmetic operator. Okay, after that we have, allow me a moment. Okay, so we will discuss the later part tomorrow. Okay, we will exactly discuss the data structures, how in real world how do we use the data structures. If you are in the group, full stack group, Durga has shared one data structure of employees. You can refer to that. Okay, and we'll discuss that in deeply tomorrow. Okay, and we'll discuss more operators tomorrow. Okay, any doubt for today, anyone? Oh, yes, yes, tell me. Pardon me, your voice isn't clear. Okay, okay, no, it's okay. I will send it today. Sorry, sorry, sorry. I will send it today. Okay, thank you, everyone.